what we're going to end up doing is use this idea of cardinality of sets and relate that to our whole numbers. So here I have a definition for whole numbers, and whole numbers are just the cardinal numbers of finite sets. So again, we're not considering infinite sets, sets that have an infinite number of elements in them, but if you have a finite set, the whole number is just the cardinal number of that set. If you have the empty set, its cardinal number is 0, so that's where the 0 comes from. If your set has 1 element, it relates to the whole number 1. If your set has 5 elements, it relates to the whole number 5. So our whole numbers are our counting numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, so on, but we have, in addition to that, 0 because of that empty set. I will come back to whole numbers and ways that we can relate this to something that younger students can kind of grasp hold of. But I want to look at an example here real quick with you all. It says in a college mathematics class, all of the students are also taking anthropology, history, or psychology, and some of the students are taking 2 or even all 3 of these courses. And then we're given a whole bunch of information. What we're going to do is we're going to fill in this Venn diagram. Now, you don't have to label the circles the same way that I am labeling them, but I'm going to label the top one anthropology. And then the bottom left, I'm going to call psychology. And then history will be the bottom right. So we're given a whole bunch of information. We're told that 40 students in total are taking anthropology. We're also told that 11 students are taking history, 12 students are taking psychology, 3 students are taking all 3 courses, 6 students are taking both anthropology and history, and 6 students are taking both psychology and anthropology. So I'm going to take that information and I'm going to fill in my Venn diagram. I'm going to start with number 4 here, where it says 3 students are taking all 3 courses. So where all 3 circles overlap, I'm going to put a 3. So that deals with this bit. Now I'm going to look at numbers 5 and 6. 5 says that 6 students are taking both anthropology and history. So anthropology and history, they overlap in this football shape. We're told that 6 students are taking both anthropology and history. So in this football shape, the 2 numbers are going to add to 6. Since I have 3 here in the overlap between all 3 sets, that means I need another 3 here. So now in the total overlap between anthropology and history, there's a total of 6 students. I'm going to do the same thing now with psychology and anthropology. So this is number 6 up here in this paragraph. It says 6 students are taking both psychology and anthropology. So again, psychology and anthropology have this overlap here. There's a total of 6 students. So I've got to put another 3 here. So there's a total of 6 students in that overlap. Now, we're told 40 students are taking anthropology. So let's fill this little bit of information in. 40 students are taking anthropology. So I have 9 of those students accounted for, 3, 3, and 3. So if I need a total of 40 students to take anthropology, this number up here needs to be 31. So 31 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, there's my 40. Then we're told 11 students are taking history and 12 students are taking psychology. So that means since 11 students are taking history that if I take the 2 squares plus the 3 and 3 here, they're going to equal 11. So let me just write that to the side. So these 2 squares plus 3 is equal to 11. So that means these 2 squares have to sum to 5 in some way, shape, or form. And hopefully you can tell, since we don't have half of people, these 2 squares don't necessarily represent the same number. I just want to indicate that these have to add to 5. Now, for psychology, we are told, let me switch to a different color here, that there's 12 students taking psychology. So if I go with this square plus this circle here, okay, so I have the circle plus the square plus 3 has to equal 12. So that means that my circle plus the square over here has to equal 6, total of 6 students. Okay. One point I want to make before I go back into parts A, B, and C here. We don't know exactly what these numbers are. You could certainly choose numbers to go into the 2 boxes and into the circle. But we're not given enough information to know for sure. So for instance, I could have, let me go to a different color yet. If this is a 2, this needs to be a 3, and this could be a 4. But the number here in the middle, instead of being a 2, this number could be a 4, and that would mean that this is a 1 and this is a 2, okay? We don't know for sure what these numbers are, and we actually don't need them to answer the questions, but if it's helpful for you, just throw in some numbers that work, okay? So if I keep what I have here, the 2, the 4, the 1, in history, 4 plus 1 plus 3 is 11. For psychology, 4 plus 2 plus 3 is 12. So I'm good. So now let me go answer parts A, B, and C. Part A says, how many students are taking only anthropology? Only anthropology, 31 students. Part B, how many students are taking anthropology or history? So that's everything in anthropology and everything in history, but remember, we don't need to count the overlap twice. So how many students do we have? Well, it's going to be 31 plus 3 plus 3 plus 3, that's 40, plus 4 plus 1, there's 45. And then part C, how many students are taking history and anthropology? So we're looking at the overlap, so this area here, but not psychology, so we're not including this. That leaves 3 students.